Now I've got to cut the shoulder off of this. I cut the side dovetails so they're sticking out a little bit further than the side of the thing. They have to be flushed up. So the easiest way to do that, now that it's all glued together and set, is to cut it on the table saw flush. That's it, it's pretty good now. I'll just clean it up a little bit on the sander. This hole on the top here has to go right through. I use a small drill bit and drill right through. This hole gets made bigger so that a screwdriver can be put in. I'm going to drill most of the way through with this spade bit. And then finish it from the other side. On the dovetail, I've got to drill this other hole also. And I'm going to put this back, being careful to orient it the same way as before, and line it up with the piece that goes behind. I'm going to drill through this hole, through the small hole, through the dovetail into this part right here. It's just enough to make a mark on here. And then I'm going to finish that. And I can slide the dovetail out, put it on here. Now I need a countersink on each one of these holes for the head of the screw. I want it to be deep enough so that the screw doesn't stick out. I'm going to use a couple of drywall screws. Now the way this is going to work is that there's a little bit of space between the dovetail and the plywood so that if it loosens up, you can always tighten these screws in a little bit and that'll snug it up and take the play out of it. So I got to make this hole a little bit bigger so that the screw kind of slides in it, but I don't want to drill it out. I want it to be pretty tight still. So I'm just going to drive the screw in, and then I'm going to put the driver in reverse and kind of use it as a drill bit so that the screw is still good in the hole, but it doesn't catch up on the wood. I'm going to drive that screw back in just a little bit, leave it slack like that, put my part back on. Now you can see the reason for the hole. I can get in there. I can get in there with the screwdriver and tighten that up so that it's snug. The reason why I put it in without doing the bottom is that I want to be able to line it up. So I'm going to slide this ahead like this. I'm going to make sure it's good and flush on the sides here, and then I'm going to drill that hole into the piece. Then I can drive that screw. Now that's tight. But the idea is that you'll be able to adjust this by turning the screw in or out as you need it. So what I'm doing right now is going to slacken that off a little bit and then drive the screw back in. So you put the dovetail in, then tighten the screw until this part comes up tight against the back here. What you want to try to do is eliminate any play this way. So you tighten this screw, and that's the reason for the fine thread on the screws, so that you get a better adjustment range. Next step is to screw these two parts together. Use a spade bit to make a countersink. Carriage bolt and then washer, nut, then I got this little bearing. It's a 1/4 inch inside hole, and the outside diameter is 3/4 inch. And then I have another nut that goes inside. Alright, the idea is to push the square part of the carriage bolt into the wood so that it doesn't turn. You do that by tightening this nut. Just snug that. Then there's the column that's been cut to fit in here. Now the column is a tight fit between the back here and the bearing, so that the bearing holds it tight up against the thing here, but it still allows it to move pretty easily. Like I say, it's a good tight fit. I'm going to adjust it with some sanding or whatever. Eventually the bearing will wear into the wood a little bit. Already it's started to do that right here, and it'll get easier. This is a part that you really don't need any you're not going to need any lubrication on. You really don't want it to slide too easily. It should be easy like this, and then you tighten it up. This is the base that I cut. It's roughly 12 inches long and 9 inches wide. The column gets attached to it right about here. I'm just going to eyeball this, get it pretty close, and then take my marker and draw a line around the base. And then I can drill holes for the screws. Now this has to be pretty strong. So I'm going to put 4 screws, 4 of these longer screws. These are 3-inch screws. I start by drilling these holes down through into the bottom. Now I'm going to tip these slightly outwards so that the screws, when the screws go up into the column, they're going to go up kind of like this. This is exaggerated, but this is what I'm looking for. Something like that, so that they're angled in towards the center of the column. I'm going to start vertical like this, and then I'm going to tip it slightly. I'm just going to tip it like this towards the other corner. Drill through. Same thing on all four corners, tipping towards the middle, towards the inside. Not too much, you don't want to go on too much of an angle. Now I can position the column where it needs to go, line it up with the marks, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a temporary, just a drywall screw in two places, just to hold this in place while I drill out the other holes. Now what I want to do is I want to extend my drill bit out as far as I can and still have a grip on it. Then drill a hole up through, making sure you're on the same angle as the thing used to be. Just drill it out. Drywall screws that were in there temporarily. What I'm doing now is just driving them in a little deeper. Be careful not to break them off or strip them. But what I want to do is make them flush with the bottom. I don't want them sticking down.